Driving along Reseda Boulevard, coming up on Sherman Way. Reseda Post Office. Right here on the corner when I was a kid was a really cool arcade. My dad only took me in there one time though. Somewhere right here was a little bookstore. Oh, it's still there. The bookie joint. Right there. Or the sign is still there. When I was a kid, I went in there with my parents and I met Curtis Armstrong from Revenge of the Nerds and Better Off Dead, Booger, Charles Dumas. We saw him in there. My parents recognized him. They said something to the lady that owned the place, and then she said something to Curtis Armstrong, and he came over and introduced himself to us. I was probably, I don't know, 6 years old, 7 years old. He bent down, shook my hand, asked my name, told me his name was Kurt too. And I just remember I was completely starstruck, couldn't say anything. This building right here, this is where I had my very first job. Telemarketing Scam. God, I hated that place. The smell of coffee and cigarettes at 6 a.m. made me sick. Right here and right here, the beginning of Tough Turf was filmed right there. One of our favorite Mexican joints right here, Melody's. Best potato tacos ever. And right here, Reseda Automotive. This is the old Reseda skate park. Chips was filmed right there where that truck is. John parks his big blue truck, and then him and Ponch head in to do some skateboarding. Here I go again with stories that I just don't know how I remember this stuff, but I remember cruising along here with my dad and my uncles. We were in my dad's 66 Impala, and we were listening to Go See the Doctor by Kool Moe Dee on K-Day. My dad really liked that song. He thought it was really funny. And we pulled into here. This Cricket Wireless used to be a Subway, and we were going to Subway. We pulled in, and as we pulled in, my dad got pulled over by the police. Great memory from my childhood. But what I wanted to really show you in here was this awesome Thai. When I was a kid, this place was called Thai Pot, and on the sign they had a pot like a witch's cauldron, and in the middle of the pot was a marijuana leaf. And yeah, I don't know why. I don't know how they got away with that or why they even did that. Across the street over there, Firehouse Restaurant, amazing Greek food. If you're in the area and you want a really delicious gyro, head over there. That's Reseda Park. Really big park right in the middle of Reseda. I went to my very first haunted house there. I was probably 17 years old and scared out of my mind. Such a dork. This shopping center here at Victory in Tampa. Wanted to point out a couple of things really quick. Right here, this place, Fab Hot Dogs. Up until not too long ago, this was called QT Chicago Dogs, and I worked here when I was about 17 years old. One of my first real jobs. Back there, that CVS pharmacy, that was a Save on Drugs that my family used to go to a lot. But what I really wanted to point out was this building right here in front of me, Kay's Music Scene. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, my parents got me my first guitar. It was an acoustic guitar, and we used to bring it over here to Kay's Music Scene to get it worked on. So this is another small independent business that's been in business for many, many years, and I thought that was awesome, and I just wanted to point it out. This is Pierce College. Right there, it's kind of hard to see, but there's this big ditch, and in the late 80s, if you drove by here, on the weekends, that ditch was packed with people skateboarding every weekend. When I was young, this 99-cent store here, this was Federated. I remember going into that Federated with my parents, and that was where I saw my first real DJ setup. I was totally blown away. I walked up to it and put my hands on it. I felt just like Jam Master Jay. It was so awesome. And later on, that building became a Silo Electronics. Okay, right here at Van Owen and Winnetka, you get two of the best restaurants right next to each other. Dagla's, one of the best hole-in-the-wall hamburger joints you will ever go to. You order a small fry and it comes in a big brown paper lunch sack, enough for 4 people, and their amazing, delicious seasoned fries. You get that with a Dagla burger and a cherry shake. You can't go wrong. And then right next door to Dagla's, you get Cupid's hot dogs. These are the best chili dogs, not just in the Valley, not just in LA, but anywhere. I've been to New York, hot dogs, delicious. I've had Chicago dogs, delicious. None of them top Cupid's chili dogs. These are the best. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't eaten meat in a really long time, so it's been quite a while since I've been here. So I can't vouch for the quality of today, but I grew up on Cupid's hot dogs and it was my absolute favorite. This used to be a place called Chuck Burger. It was just a little hole in the wall burger joint, but I don't know, something was really great about it. We used to come here all the time. And then just a couple of blocks away from Chuck Burger, this Bank of America. I don't know how many of you remember in the late 90s, the North Hollywood shootout. That happened right here at this Bank of America. All right, this was probably my family's #1 spot, the Bear Pit. This was our special occasion restaurant. Best garlic toast and barbecue beans you'll find anywhere. And the Bear Pit special sandwich, amazing. Garlic toast stacked with a whole bunch of meat. That Sherwin-Williams paint right there, that was Dennis Park Bakery. That's where we got all of our cakes. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen my birthday cakes from when I was a kid. Those really awesome cakes. Those all came from Dennis Park Bakery. Right over there, Holiday Burger. I can't believe that place is still there. We used to go there sometimes until one day I got a hot dog and it was green, and that was the last time we ever went there. All right, this next place coming up on my left is gotta be hands down my favorite food spot in the entire Valley, the Munch Box. The Munch Box was definitely a staple of my childhood. We came here all the time. And I'm telling you, this is no exaggeration, best chili cheese fries anywhere in the entire world. The Munch Box has been here since, I believe, the early 50s, and they wanted to develop this land, and they wanted to tear down the Munch Box. They fought, and they finally, it became a historical landmark, and so then they just ended up building around the Munch Box. They made this whole shopping center, but this shopping center wasn't here. However, that self-storage place, that was there. It was the only business that was here next to the Munch Box. My family, we moved around a lot to different apartment buildings, and we had a storage unit here at this self-storage place. And I remember in the late 80s, we used to come here on the weekends. They would let me and my brother, we would bring our friends with us, and we would just skateboard in this storage unit. We would be skating while my dad was going through all of our junk. And it's funny because I think back, it was probably hell for my dad because he had to move around all of our junk and go through it. But it was awesome for us because we got to come here with our friends, skate, and then we would come next door to the Munch Box and we would have lunch. So those were awesome trips that again probably really sucked for my dad. But seriously, I can't stress this enough. If you're in the San Fernando Valley, if you can make it over to Chatsworth, you have to go to the Munch Box. Across the street from the Munch Box is the Cowboy Palace Saloon, famous cowboy bar, featured in the movie La Bamba. All right, we're in the West Valley now, Canoga Park. This building coming up on the right, where it says Kitchen and Bath. This was the Cobalt Cafe. My very first band, our very first show was right here at the Cobalt Cafe. We opened up for the 90s band Eve 6, but back then they were called Yaku, and later on they became 11-teen, and then eventually they became Eve 6. I played here thousands of times. I worked here for a while. I could do a complete separate video just on the Cobalt, and you know what, I probably will one day because so many things happened here. It's really cool to see that all the businesses around the Cobalt are still the same. That deli, that was always there. Scotland Yard, the pub. Jerry's Pizza, we used to always go over there. They had really good pizza. I would always get a sausage and meatball pizza from Jerry's. The pool hall down there. All of these other businesses are still the same. but the Cobalt is gone. Yeah, so this was Tower Records right here where they're building those luxury apartments. I used to come to this Tower Records all the time, particularly for the Ticketmaster. This is where I always came to buy concert tickets. Also in the 90s, I remember coming here to see the Muffs. The Muffs did a live in-store performance at this Tower Records, and I was here right up in front. That Amazon Fresh, that was Toys R Us. This is right next to the Tower Records, but that See's Candy, that was there. So good to see that that survived. I'm back in Reseda. This is another one of the many places that I lived growing up as a kid. These townhouses right here. Actually, that one right there, that was mine. I had a mini ramp in that garage, a little 3-footer mini ramp. Got my bike stolen out of that garage. Fun times. All right, right here, this is Melodyland, a little mini replica of Graceland. And basically this was, it was owned and built by an Elvis impersonator that lived here. It doesn't look exactly the same. It used to have the gates with little Elvis silhouettes on it. There's actually an episode of Full House where Jesse has a fantasy about getting married at Graceland, and it was shot right there in front of Melodyland. Valley Skate and Surf, Balboa, and Parthenia in Northridge. This was the skateboard shop that I came to the majority of the time when I lived in the Valley. Been here a long time. I'm really happy to see that it's still around. So I just found out recently that this shop has a new owner, and it's one of the kids that worked here back in the day when I used to come here, like in the early 90s. And online there's actually a picture of the lady that owned it when I was a kid handing over the keys to the new owner. And I think that's just really awesome. I hope he keeps it going for a really long time. I have another video up on my channel here of a skateboard demo in the early 90s, and this is where it was, right here, Valley Skate and Surf. Right there, that's where the ramp was.